All right, let's talk about music. Let's talk about bringing in music into your live streams, and let's talk about music that you can use without somebody coming up to you and say, hey, I want some money for that. You're using my song. What you're hearing right now is a song I actually created on my iPad. Whenever I fly, I like to pull it, and I have the phone or the iPad available. I pull it out and I tinker on it. I get ideas, and then of course as a musician, I use those ideas when I create songs. Now, not everybody's a musician, and that's okay. There are still ways you can do it without having to worry about how do I do fourths and fifths and major sevenths and blah blah blah. Like, for instance, I could bring in a hip hop beat, and I can use this beat, and I can actually control it if I want to by little bits and pieces. So you get an idea that there's change to it, and then of course I can stop it altogether. So there are different ways to do this, and once again, these ways so far, there have been no copyright to it. Nobody's going to come to you and say, hey, you got a copyright strike because you're using our music. Hey, it's just not going to happen. And if it does happen, you can say, no, this is my original music, so go away. Now, keep in mind, you can't just take like a Billie Eilish song and then create it using one of these programs and then think that you can use that. It's got to be your own creation. I'm going to show you 3 ways you can do it. And even if you're not a musician, these ways will help. But there's many other ways. Now, first of all, before that, we'll talk about some other ways that you can get music in. But keep in mind, if you're using it for live streaming, if you're using it for anything beyond YouTube, especially if your videos all of a sudden show up on TV or show up on Hulu or something like that, then the music, then you face a different type of copyright. Because and this is what I use. I use a program. Let me call it up here really quick. It's called Epidemic. Yeah, there it is. Epidemic Sound. I had to think about that for a second. So this is basically some software that you can use and you can sign up as a YouTuber, and it'll give you music to put in your soundtracks. And a lot of the videos that I put up on YouTube, up on Facebook, will have Epidemic Sound in it, because I just don't want to deal with it. And it's never going to get past YouTube. And if it did get past YouTube, I'm going to have to take those tracks out or relicense them. But, it's like $15 a month, and I can, if I need a country two-step, or if I need a ballad, or if I need something rocking and rolling, I've got all that music at my fingertips because I've done this. I've tried to get royalty-free music, and without a company like this behind it, it gets tougher. In fact, there is a video out there that I had music in that is commercial free. They're not they're not looking for money, but somebody on YouTube found a way to actually create the license for it. And so every time I'll get dinged, not a copyright strike from YouTube, but I'll get dinged. I'll get a message from YouTube saying I can't monetize the video because this music is not mine and I don't have permission to use it. Well, the person that put the copyright claim together also doesn't have the permission to use it. So I don't know. I'm working with YouTube on that, but this is a great way to make sure that I always have music at the ready and use it for. And once you put it into a YouTube video, let's say you cancel Epidemic Sound, and they're not going to come back after you because you used it. You bought it for that time period that you used it. Now, if you use that song after that and you don't have a license set up, yeah, you're going to get dinged for it. But anyway, that's one. There's several different other ones. Video Blocks also does that with story blocks and audio blocks, because then you add video, and you add audio, and you add pictures and stuff like that. So if you need something more than that, and of course, even on Wirecast, we have the ability to bring in the stock photo. With that is actually video blocks that they're using it from, they're licensing from. So you can bring in audio, you can bring in video. But once again, If you do something more than just your YouTube videos and your YouTube live streams, you might get some emails, you might get some issues and somebody asking for money. So, with that said, let's talk about these 3 ways that I'm going to show you. And one's a hardware solution, 2 are software solutions. And the first one's super easy. If you've got a MacBook, this is the easiest way to do it. That's it, right here. Let me show you. This is it. This is GarageBand. It's a fairly straightforward program to use. And the cool thing about this is you can use your iPhone to create the music and then bring it over to the iPad, to the MacBook, or the iMac, or whatever you're using. You can mix it down to an MP3 file if you're using Wirecast or whatever streaming system on a PC or a different type of machine. But right now I have it to go 16 bars and then loop. So it's just playing the same 16 bars again and again. And with this, I can change it up a little bit. Like, for instance, I can take out the piano. I can take out the guitar. And some extra drums. And then house drums. Or I can bring them back all in. I can say, yeah, I just want the house drums. Or I want this, which is just basically accent drums. You get it, maybe some grand piano. I don't know how well you can hear that, but you get the idea. Is that you can bring it in. Let's just bring up the volume just a little bit. So now, like I said, I'll just do. Let's just do the main line. Take out the metronome. A little bit of acoustic guitar. So, and with the acoustic guitar, like I said, this acoustic line is actually fairly easy to run on iPad and iPhone, because you don't have to figure out all the notes. You can figure out a strum pattern and then just hit chords as you're going. So if you have a basic understanding of music and you know how to do a C, F, G, you could create some stuff and have some fun with it. So if you're a little creative, that's one way to do that. So that is just GarageBand. And here, let me show you really quick. Let's just let's go over here. We'll go over here. There we go. So we're going to create a new file. And let's not save this. We'll bring in an empty project. And then we're going to go over here. We're going to say add a drummer. Create. There. You just created your first thing. There's Maurice. And what's cool about this is I can sit there, I can change how he plays. Louder, more complex. I want more of the hi-hat. I want shakers instead of a hi-hat. I want some percussion in there. Add some fills. Or, I don't like this, let's go to Boutique 808. There we go. Let's do some electro bump. And I can create, I have plugins that I can bring those in to add to this sound. Let's go back, let's go to Big Room. Let's go to Dez. Let's change him up, change up our drummer. Go back to Bigger Room. There we go. So you get the idea there. It's lots of different ways that you can bring in. You can bring in a drummer and you can bring in a sound. If you just want a drummer, that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is by going over to, let me bring it up here. Another program that I use is called Band in a Box. This is going to cost a little bit more, but it's got some great features to it. And right now I've got a song in here. And these are just the bass songs that you can load up and you can use them. They're copyright free. And then I can change things a little bit if I wanted to. Like for instance, we'll just go to the basic song here. Nice little slow classic rock. I got an echo. I shouldn't have an echo. That's weird. Hold on a second. There. Okay, there we go. I had a button on. So anyway, the idea, yeah, as you can see, now I can talk and I have this music playing behind me, and this is actually absolutely copyright free. And if I wanted to, I can say, okay, I want this to be an F instead of an G. So now, it's gonna sound a little weird, but because I didn't think about it too much, but that's not too bad. And then I can bring this to G, and then now I've got a different song if I wanted to. It's, as you can see, fairly straightforward. And to create the styles, you can go from the list, and you can use the base list, or you can buy whatever add-ons they have, because you can get tons of more songs if you need something a little bit more specific to what you're doing. But as you can see, it's there you are. You've now got a song. You've got music behind you that you're not going to get in trouble for using because of the fact that it's copyright free. And what's cool about this is you can use this for things like when you're planning to do a live stream and you have to go silent. Let's say you're doing overhead cameras just showing the crowd or something like that. You can have this music playing in the background. I've done this several times for events. So they have something audio-based to listen to while they're waiting for the stream to come back up. It's pretty cool. So we have that option. Let's bring that down. Let's stop that. And there's a third option. Now this is a pretty cool option. And what's really cool about this is you can also create your own beats and stuff like that. It's mostly drums, but you can actually put in other instruments if you put some thought into it. And it's this thing right here. And why didn't that switch over? Let's do that. Did it not? Oh. Well, that's interesting. Let's move it over then. Hold on a second. Oh, stop being difficult. There we are. This is the Beat Buddy. This is a product I got about a year ago, and I've done some stuff on this before. And this is really cool because with this, you can just put some straight up drum beats down. Now here's how it sounds. Let me switch over here. Is it ready? Okay. So now if I hit this button, it's doing a straight up hip hop beat. And I got that running in the background. So now I can talk. I got this hip hop beat going on, and I can alter it a little bit. Let's say I'm gonna go from one segment to the other. I'll just press it down. Now I've got a little bit of skip in there, a little bit of feel like it's not just gonna be a straight beat through the whole thing. I can do multiple fills, and then I can go to a different type of beat, and then when I'm done, I'll just double click on it, and I'll do an outro fill. And it's done. I can go in here. I can go down to hip hop 2, and I can change the volume. I can change the tempo. Oops. Oh, that's the drum set. I'm sorry. Tempo is over here. I can slow it down. And then when I'm done, I just stop it. And once again, this is also, you get some basic drum beats in here. You can add your own. There is an online community that does a lot of cool stuff, like you can do funk and drum and bass. You can create your own. If you know MIDI, you can. They have a program that you load up, and you can change all the MIDI on there. But you can also bring in stuff that you're working on. Whoops. Like, let's see if I can find it. Maybe I don't have it on this one. Got metronomes, voice beatbox, voice world. Nope, I didn't bring it in, but there's some premium demos here. Let's see. Here's a Phil Collins demo. So you get the idea. So now I can control it with the drums and have a little bit of fun with that, and go from there, because I can control it, and it's a foot pedal, so I could actually have it at my feet, controlling it. Bring in Phil Collins sound. Bring it down a little bit. So now you got some background drums while we're talking here, and hey, that's pretty sweet. And it adds to the audio and video that you do. Now, for music, it's best to have what's called a ducker. So when you talk, it lowers the music down to a certain point. But Wirecast doesn't have a ducker type situation in there. A compressor works sometimes as a ducker, but it is not a ducker. And just so you know, so that of course a compressor is in there, and you can set it up as another track. So when you record, you can actually have this music on a separate track, on track 2, and your vocals on a track 1. So if it just doesn't work, you can just take it out and then set it up and mix it down and get rid of the track, or bring the track in separately, and then do what you need to do in a post editor or anything like that. Or when you're live streaming, you have no music in the background, but if you're recording, you can put the music in the background. So lots of different ways to do it, but as you can see, that is the easiest. Those are the 3 things that you can do to bring it in. One's free. If you've got a Mac, if you've got an iOS product, you've got GarageBand, so use it. One, and then the other 2 you do have to pay. I think this pedal is something like $200, $250. There are other pedals out there, just like the Beat Buddy, that also do drum and bass sounds. And they're meant, so when I'm playing guitar, I can put a drum beat behind it. And there's other ways to do it. There's other programs, MIDI programs that you can use to create music. And all of these ways, you just pay the fee, how much it costs for the program, and then the music that you create is what you use. And it doesn't have to be complex. In fact, you can also work with some of your buddies, and maybe your buddy's like, "Oh yeah, I got that program. I got 5 songs that I wrote here. I'll give them to you. You can use them on your show." And the next thing you know, you got music for your show. And you got it from your buddies. So I went a little bit long on that, but you get the idea. Is these are 3 great ways for you to create music and put it in as your back live stream, and have a little bit more as you're going from there.